Ford lost $132,000 on every EV it sold. Honda canceled its entire electric lineup. Stellantis booked $22 billion in losses. And right through all of it, Hyundai posted 5 straight years of record US sales. Same market, same rules, same headwinds. Nobody in this industry wants to say it out loud. This wasn't luck, this was a plan. And today we're going to take it apart piece by piece. Let's be honest about where the American EV market stands right now, because the story is not what the headlines made it sound like 2 years ago. Q3 of 2025 looked extraordinary on paper. 438,000 EV sales, over 10% market share, a record quarter. But dig one layer deeper and you understand what actually happened. Buyers weren't suddenly converted. They were rushing through a closing door. The federal $7,500 AV tax credit expired September 30th, 2025, and the market behaved exactly like a clearance sale on its last day. Then Q4 arrived. Market share collapsed to 5.8%. Unsold EV inventory ballooned to 149 days sitting on dealer lots by November, nearly double what's considered healthy. By Q1 of 2026, EV sales had fallen 27% year over year, the first expected annual decline in AV market share since 2011. On top of that, a 20% Section 232 tariff on imported vehicles landed in April 2025. Then in June 2025, California's Advanced Clean Cars mandate, the regulation that had been forcing automakers to sell EVs regardless of actual consumer demand, was revoked. The entire regulatory scaffolding that the industry had quietly leaned on for years was gone. Simultaneously, Ford's EV division lost over $5 billion in 2024 alone. At one point in Q1 of that year, Ford was losing $132,000 on every single electric vehicle it shipped out the door. Not per model line, per car. Stellantis, the parent company of Jeep and Ram, recorded $22 billion in net losses in 2025. The Jeep Wagoneer AV, a flagship product, sold 175 units in Q1 of 2026. Volkswagen killed the American-built ID.4 in April 2026. Honda cancelled its entire Zero Series electric lineup and posted its first operating loss since 1957. And Hyundai, 772,000 vehicles sold in 2025, 5 straight record years in the US market. Before the cars make sense, the factory has to make sense, because the factory is the actual story. In May 2023, Hyundai Motor Group signed an agreement with the state of Georgia that was unlike anything the American automotive industry had seen in decades. Not a conversion of an existing gas engine plant, not a retooled assembly line. A purpose-built, ground-up electric and hybrid vehicle manufacturing complex designed from the foundation for the era it was entering. The site, Ellabelle, Georgia, 20 miles outside Savannah, 2,284 acres, over 16 million square feet of production floor, the largest single economic development project in Georgia's history. Ground broke in October 2022. By October 2024, just 2 years later, the first Hyundai Ioniq 5 rolled off the line, assembled in America. The facility operates differently from traditional automotive plants in ways that matter. There are no conventional conveyor belt systems. Autonomous guided vehicles move car bodies through each stage of production. AI optimizes everything from procurement to logistics to quality control in real time. Robots operate alongside workers, not instead of them. Hyundai named it HM Gemma. Hyundai Motor Group, Metaplant America. The word meta by their own definition means transformative. The name is deliberate. Co-located on the same campus is a joint battery manufacturing facility with LG Energy Solution, meaning the battery cells and the vehicles are made within the same complex. That level of vertical integration directly reduces cost and supply chain exposure. Total investment, $12.6 billion. And in 2025, Hyundai emitted an additional $120 billion in US manufacturing expansion from 2025 through 2028. Current annual production capacity stands at 300,000 vehicles. The target is 500,000. The Ioniq 5 and the newly launched Ioniq 9 are already in production. Kia joins the platform in 2026. When every other major automaker was canceling factory plans and walking back EV commitments, Hyundai was holding a grand opening ceremony in Georgia. Strategy is only as good as the product it produces. So what does the lineup actually look like in 2026? The Ioniq 5, starting at $30,000. This car has won more industry awards than most automakers produce in a decade. US News ranked it number 1 in its class with a 9.4 out of 10 score. But the more important number for 2026 is $9,155. The average price reduction Hyundai applied across the entire Ioniq 5 lineup after the federal tax credit expired. Most automakers responded to the credit expiring by quietly hoping consumers wouldn't do the math. Hyundai publicly recalculated and dropped sticker prices permanently, up to $9,100 on the SEL trim. No fine print, no lease-only qualification. The base SE standard range now starts at $35,000 before destination. Specs: up to 300 miles of APA estimated range, NACS charging port with native access to over 20,000 Tesla superchargers, 350 kilowatts DC fast charging, 2 battery sizes, rear-wheel drive or all-wheel drive, up to 320 horsepower in AVD configuration. The dual 12 3-inch displays merge into a single continuous dashboard panel. The exterior design, pixel-light details, retro-futurist proportions still draws attention in a way few EVs manage. The Ioniq 5N takes all of that and adds 641 horsepower at peak boost and a 0-60 miles per hour time under 3.4 seconds. For 2026, it receives the NACS port as standard. The Ioniq 9 starting at $60,555. 3 rows, 7 passengers, over 300 miles of range on every single trim. Base included. The rear-wheel drive base model delivers 335 miles, exceeding a loaded Tesla Model Y. Power spans from 315 horsepower in the entry configuration to 420 horsepower in the Performance Limited. The 110, 3 kWh battery charges from 10 to 80 Fncham in approximately 40 minutes at a standard public fast charger and 24 minutes at a 350 kilowatt station. Inside, relaxation seats front and second row, a sliding center console, ambient lighting, 7 USB-C ports, and cabin isolation that reviewers have described as near luxury class. Every Ioniq 9 sold in America is assembled at HMGMA. Every single one. The EV market is genuinely difficult for everyone right now. Incentives are gone. Tariffs are active. Consumer confidence is soft. So what separates Hyundai from the companies posting historic losses? 4 reasons. None of them accidental. Reason 1, they built for customers, not compliance. Honda's EV history is a case study in the opposite approach. The EV Plus in 1997, lease only, 81 miles of range, roughly 325 units produced, most later recalled and destroyed. The Fit EV in 2013, production capped at exactly 100 units. The Clarity Electric in 2017, lease only, California and Oregon only. Every vehicle built to satisfy a government mandate, not because consumers were demanding them. Hyundai launched the Ioniq 5 as a real product. Full production, broad availability, specs that competed directly against genuine rivals. In 2025, they sold 47, 09 Ioniq 5s in the United States. That was a 6 Fncham increase year over year, achieved after the $7,500 federal tax credit expired. The credit that everyone said was essential to EV adoption. Sales went up anyway. Reason 2, they built their American factory before they were forced to. The Georgia plant broke ground in October 2022. The 25 Fncham import tariff landed in April 2025. By the time that tariff created a crisis for competitors importing vehicles from overseas, Hyundai was already manufacturing domestically. That is not coincidence. That is a multi-year strategic decision that paid off at precisely the right moment. Reason 3. They cut prices instead of making excuses. CEO Jose Munoz has been publicly consistent. Compete on actual value, never build a business model that depends on a government incentive that can disappear in a single election cycle. When the credit ended, Hyundai adjusted the math and printed it on the sticker. That kind of pricing discipline is rare. And in a market correction, it is decisive. Reason 4, their battery data is genuinely ahead of the industry conversation. At CEO Investor Day in September 2025, Hyundai released durability analysis from over 50 Xenon Ioniq 5 vehicles, including cars with more than 250,000 miles driven. The data showed that most retain over 90 Fncham of original battery capacity. That single number is what makes long-term EV ownership calculable. You can model the resale value. You can project total cost of ownership. The uncertainty that keeps buyers hesitant largely disappears. Looking forward, a 30 Fncham battery cost reduction, 15 Fncham higher energy density, and 15 Fncham faster charging, all targeted for 2027. Not a concept roadmap, a near-term engineering commitment. Starting in 2026, Hyundai is also rolling out a cloud-based battery management system that collects real-time data across diverse driving environments to run predictive diagnostic continuously, while driving, while charging, and while parked. Hyundai is not finished building, not even close. The Ioniq 3 had its world premiere in April 2026, a compact urban EV expected to start around $30,000 in the US market. An Ioniq 4 compact sedan is in credible development, potentially arriving in late 2026 at a similar price point, filling a segment that almost no mainstream manufacturer is currently competing in seriously. The Ioniq 6N performance sedan is confirmed for spring 2026. Sharing the 641 horsepower peak output with the Ioniq 5N, estimated at $70,000, it targets the Tesla Model 3 performance and European sports sedans directly. Hyundai's N-Performance division is also reportedly developing a hot hatch-style compact EV, 200 to 270 horsepower, priced between $35,000 and $540,000, Zaalzudel. That would occupy a segment that currently has no credible competition. The Genesis luxury brand is expanding into full electrification with BVs, hybrids, and a REV technology, extended-range electric vehicles that pair EV efficiency with a small combustion generator, eliminating range anxiety without compromising the daily electric driving experience. Genesis is targeting 350,000 annual global sales by 2030. Then there is the Waymo partnership, Ioniq 5-based autonomous vehicles already operating on public roads, carrying real passengers in real cities. This is not a pilot program. It is a step toward Hyundai functioning as mobility infrastructure, not just an automaker. The total financial commitment, 77.3 trillion Korean won invested from 2026 to 2030, while Ford is still trying to figure out how to lose less than $132,000 per car. Hyundai is already planning the decade after next. The market will keep shifting. The companies that anticipated the shift, rather than reacted to it, are the ones still standing when the dust clears. Hyundai anticipated, and the numbers prove it.